Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is thankful Thursday, March 20th, and welcome to another episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an actor and a voiceover artist, and I'm super excited to have him here in the dollhouse with me. That noise that you hear in the background is my little portable fan air conditioner thing over here going. I'm trying not to melt. As you guys can see, I chose to bear just a little bit of skin. So I hope you all are doing awesome this fabulous Thursday. We finally made it through this crazy week, and it's always something with this administration, but we're not going to get into all of that today. But I want you guys to have fun. We're going to have some fun today. So without further ado, let me share this live with my very special guest to let them know that I am on. Oh, he's here. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, let's welcome our very special guest, Conrad Johnston, to the dollhouse. Hi, Nurse Chula. Hi, everybody. Daytime on YouTube, if you have not. Do me a favor and also hit that bell so you'll be notified when new interviews be uploaded. All right? Hello, hello.
How
Welcome.
how are you? How are
I'm
you?
doing wonderful. Welcome to the dollhouse. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
I appreciate it. I'm
Appreciate it.
blessed to
I'm
be
blessed to
here.
be here.
Yes. So before we kick off this conversation, how has 2025 been for you so far?
Oh, it's been a blessing. First and foremost, I was blessed to be here to see it. Um, by way of the new year and by just a few days ago being blessed with another year of life. So, and then God's been blessing as far as my career in film and television and commercials. So it's been beyond a blessing.
Nurse Chula is saying, indeed, it surely is. It is. And I tell my guests this all the time. 2024 was more so about self accountability and preservation. 2025 is all about awakening. And as she just said in the comments,
Right.
also, God is good all the time, all the time. And I
And
said that to my guests
all the time, he's
all the
good.
time.
Yeah.
Right. So let's get into you, Mr. Conrad Johnston, because you are. I call you. I'd like to call you a Renaissance man because you are a man that wears many hats, and you're not only an
Yes.
actor, but you are a voiceover artist. You are a family man. And my guest yesterday
Yes.
was just like, "How does she know this?" Empaths, we pick up everything. I'm a Scorpio. So we pick up vibes, we pick up everything, and it's just like we instantly know just from that
Yes.
alone. So tell us, let's start from the beginning of your journey. I like for you to walk us through this journey and you tell the story. Who is Conrad Johnston? And I know who he
Um,
is, but who is
hmm.
Conrad
Hmm.
Johnston?
Well, I'm a I'm a blessed, don't mind saying black man who lives in Detroit, Michigan, but by way born in Brooklyn, born and raised Brooklyn, New York City, also from Panama, Jamaica, and Dominican Republic. Um, I- I'm a husband, a father, as I say, a working man. I've been a fan of acting since it's not, I'm not trying to sound cliche, I'm being realistic since I was a little boy. Um, from the first time I seen the Broadway stage play The
Oh
Wiz,
yeah.
and I was just in awe of what I saw. Um, it wasn't so much the costumes or the lighting. I was in awe by the fact it was one of the first times that it was the first time in my life that I discovered that we as people had the power, and if we're interested enough, that people would be willing to sit and watch and or listen to what we had to say. We can hold your attention. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to get people's attention. I want people not just look at me, but that I'm delivering something interesting. And my love for acting has been that ever since. It probably was born in me, but that's when I realized it and embraced it.
Yes.
Um, and it started from stage plays, of course, like a lot of people, from high school. But then as an adult, been blessed to been in oh Jesus. I've been blessed to be in quite a few plays. Your Arms Are Too Short to Box with God, Beauty Shop, a play I was in called Give Me One Reason, a play I co-wrote called Before I Let Go. And so, I mean, my journey has been awesome. And then it took me over in the film. And we get further into that. It's just been my life has just been amazing. And just like anybody else, with its ups and downs, its hardships, its um, heartbreaks and pain, doubts, unsureties, and even having a time in my life is particularly in this journey of acting and saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. But thank God for a beautiful wife, a loving partner, a loving encourager who said, oh, no, you're not. You didn't work too hard and you invested so much. And I have invested a lot in you. And what you're not going to do is give up. Okay, you get a little discouraged. It's okay. Pray on it, it'll pass. But what I'm not going to do is watch you give up. And I thank her for that. I thank her for that.
Yes, yes. Before I get to the women in your life, you said
Yeah.
New York. I knew I detected an accent somewhere. That's why I was over here talking to counter because my father is from New York. I have family there. So when you said Brooklyn, I have
Okay.
family in Brooklyn. You know, I'm pretty sure you've heard of Brownsville, the five boroughs. I have cousins up there, and my brother is in North Carolina, but the majority of my family is down here where I'm at in South Carolina. So when you said New York, I said I knew a connection. But I'm going to go
Yes,
back
ma'am.
to New York as well too because you've got the Harlem Renaissance up there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know Langston
Yes.
Hughes. And when you said the Wiz, I was like, that was the first black representation that we seen. Felicia Rashad,
Yes.
Ozzy D, and Ruby Day. Yeah, Ozzy D, Ozzy Davis, and Ruby D. A Raisin in the Sun.
Yes.
All of these plays that we grew up with, and to see it now continue on years later in
Yes.
2025. Before we get to the women, what do you think about the just the rise of black creatives on Broadway? Because we grew up watching these. The Wiz, that's a classic. Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, that was a classic. We grew up watching this. And to see it now linger on years later and be reimagined into our lives. How do you feel about the
Right.
rise of black creatives and how important is it now?
Um, I love it. I embrace it. Because we as a people are walking stories, not just ancestral stories, but we're living stories. In all aspects of life. And it's just wonderful to see us bring forth these stories, whether it be from literature, film, television, and it's just like like I was just in awe, even though I know he produced it, but that he being Tyler Perry, I really appreciate him embracing bringing that movie to six triple
Oh
eight.
yeah.
I thought that movie was awesome because it was a story that many people didn't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially us. And I've always been a fan of our history,
Come on.
and it's so much that doesn't get shared. And I love it when our creatives bring forth these stories, and I don't know about other people, but I don't just watch them. I put myself there and imagine what the feeling of what was going on during that time, and feelings that some had in those stories that they were living, that they had no idea that we would embrace later on in life. So I just love our creators bringing those stories to life. I I'm a fan of it. I want more of it. Um, and I don't want just the same old. And there's no disrespect, but I don't want the same old Amistad roots. There's so many other stories about us that that can be told. There's so many other stories of people of us of color who are been inventors and excelled in literature and science that we haven't even scratched the surface, as they say. But I say bring it on. And not only am I saying, but I'm also a part of help bringing those stories because I'm also a writer. So I've been doing some research into some history of us that most people don't know. And when it's time for it to come forth, everybody will see. Everybody will see. Because I love it. I just love it. I say keep going, keep going. I'm a supporter of it.
Now, my colleague, y'all know why I'm over here smiling because I have been saying this all along on my platform. It is important, especially in these times where they are trying to erase our history. It's important more
Right.
than ever that we continue to learn our history and our culture. Now, getting rid of the
Correct.
Department of Education, we know what that is going to do. That is going to cripple Black children, our children, and it's important
Right.
that they learn their history. My colleague in the comments, now's the time, who I've known a very long time, is also born and raised in New York. He's from Rochester, New York, Conrad.
Okay.
So this is something that me and him have had conversations about, the importance of learning our history, the real true history. We know that there are so many Black inventors out here, but in the school system, they only teach us about, of course, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Yes,
Hmm.
we do it. You
Exact.
name
Wow.
it. Queen Latifah, Beyonce, yeah, we see them in there, but it's so many others. Matthew Henson, who is the great grandfather of Taraji P. Henson. So it's important that we
Yes.
go out here and we learn in our history and invest. Every single day I post is Women's History Month, and I've been posting a lot of facts about a lot of amazing women and the accomplishments. They're also trying to erase women veterans, all of these things, people who have contributed to history, but mainly Black history.
Right.
Jackie Robinson was the one that got me because I'm just like, why? Why? But it's important that we learn these things. Now, Ebony Magazine used to do, if you flip through, you'd see they'd have this encyclopedia of all these Black inventors, and you could
Right.
purchase a
Correct.
subscription to get one monthly. So I wish they would do that. I wish they would bring those things back. But we now have news outlets like myself, like Roland Martin. There's so many others out here that can keep you informed on Black history, that are keeping
Correct.
that legacy going. And for you as an artist, as a voiceover artist, and not only just as a voiceover artist, but as an actor and as a Black man, you are telling the story. Um, Rick Kelvin Branch, who I've also had on my show as well too, who has talked about growing up in the time of slavery and what was it like for him,
Hmm.
and being there
Hmm.
in that moment, in that present time, shared that story. That was a powerful interview. So if you guys haven't seen it, please go back and check it out. It's important
Right.
that we check out these books, go and invest in these books out here, learn them, where they are trying to ban books on our history, on our lineage. Because growing up, we were just taught about Madam C.J. Walker, Malcolm X, Martin
Exactly.
Luther King. There's so many others out here as well too. What about Fred Hampton, Marcus Garvey, all of these Black revolutionaries and activists who have contributed to Black culture, who have invented
Right.
Black culture. One thing for me, and shout outs to Feminista Jones, we know that Madam C.J. Walker's the first Black self-made female millionaire. To have, we
Correct.
wouldn't have hair products if it wasn't for this woman. But a Black man, Garrett, I think it's Garrett E. Morgan, invented hair relaxer. That I did not
Hmm.
know. A Black man invented hair relaxer. So it's important that we
Right.
continue to follow the outlets that are preserving our history and our lineage. The museums as well too. Because remember, there's a museum, I think, in Paris, the African American Art Museum. We need to go and look into this as
Okay.
well too. There's so many Black artists out here. There's so many
Right.
other than just Langston Hughes, who I've mentioned. But what about Rita Dove? We know about Toni Morrison. We know about Maya Angelou, poets, because Conrad here is also not just a voiceover artist, but a poet, a lyricist as
Yes.
well too. So it's important that we preserve that. So I'm so glad that you touched on that. That's why I made that face, because I don't even have to say a word. My guests already know what I was gonna say, but they say it for me. So there you go.
Yeah, and like you spoke on, like one, like it's so many out here, like you said. I know a lot of people who don't know about John Hanson
Yes.
and him being, hey, my sister here. Hey, Trey, excuse me. Hey, sis. Him being the actual official first black president, but he's not recognized because he was the first black president before it was only the continental U.S. It wasn't the United States, so he doesn't get
Oh yeah.
recognized. And he also created many of the cabinets that we have today, like the Department of Treasury and many other things.
Speak on it.
Um, One of the biggest individuals, oh man, and I have researched his story, read his story, watched documentaries, um, and it's something I would love to portray him on film. And it's a man known to be who was known to be the richest man in the world, and who was a black man by the name of Mansa Musa. And Mansa, man, wow. If you don't know that story, I suggest everybody go check that out. Research. Um, awesome. I mean, this man financed countries. Every time he would go on a pilgrimage, he supplied countries. He came with thousands and thousands of camel and cattle and gold and silk and, oh man, everything. Just check him out. Mansa was something else. And when I tell you, I was just so intrigued by this man, like, wow. But they don't speak. Another gentleman, um, Bass Reeves, another awesome man. He was the well, what do you call it? He was the first black, um, not FBI. Oh, you have to look him up. Bass Reeves, black man, but he was the first black. It was, I think it's like the FBI. It was law enforcement, and he was the first black man to be a part of this. And it's like, he's he has another awesome story, and and the last thing I'm gonna say on this, when we talk about, I don't really use the word history too much, because when I learned years ago as a child, that's just what it is. His story, not mine. Um, I know a lot of people not a fan of this, but me personally, I've always felt like, I don't know if back during the 50s, and I understand what our parents, grandparents, great grandparents were fighting for at the time. But when I look at what we're dealing with now and how we talking about now, how we don't know so much about ourselves, I believe a big part of it came with integration. As far as education, I think that was a bad move. I believe, at least far as education was concerned, had we stayed segregated, we as black children, black people, probably would have been fed more of our people, more than just, with all due respect, Martin, Malcolm, Rosa, Madam CJ. We'd have got
A whole lot
the
more.
John Hansons. Yes, but because of integration, then it incurred of them enforcing their, just strictly there. And don't get me wrong, you need to know theirs too, to 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 come with ours to understand why things have been the way they've been. But I believe, had we stayed, far as education, integrated, we wouldn't have lost a lot of our stories, and more would have been told. And even in our own households, our family would have been more viable to share those stories in history of not just people we don't know, but there's people in our own family, like you said, Taraji P. Henson, Matthew is her great grandfather. You got people in your family too that you probably don't even know about who have done some things. And you're like, wow. But when that's not given to you, you have to go and find these things if you want to know. And that's where I come from with that right
And I'm
there.
gonna go back to what you just said, because an actress, and I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier about it. Angelina Ellis, she said this at one
Oh,
of the award shows. She said that we don't want to worry about it. We don't have to get a seat at the table. No, we want the acres of
hmm,
land. We want the land. We want black people
yes,
want everything that is rightfully due to them. Not to get too radical, I don't want to get. I can go there, comrade.
yes.
I've been talking about
So
it,
can
but
I.
it needs to be said as a black woman in this country. It needs to
Yeah,
be said for black people, for us as a collective. We should be getting everything that is rightfully due to us. We've built this
yeah,
country. So that means the acres of land, the mule, everything. We should be getting
yes,
everything for this. The White
yes.
House, all of that. Our ancestors built this country. And it's a
And we
crying
did.
shame that now this administration wants to now erase everything and just whitewash it and act as
Yes,
if it didn't happen. We know the real true history of this country, and what's
yes,
going on. The reason why this is happening because of white fear. It's white fear. They fear us because they know our power. Just like they spend money, we spend money.
yes.
And when we have now gained our power because they know that we're angry, well, yeah, y'all gonna get the smoke. 400 years of oppression? Yes, y'all gonna get the smoke from all of us, and rightfully so. Y'all should be bowing down, kissing the ground that we built.
Exactly.
So when
Um,
I say this, they're erasing our history. No, you can't get rid of black people. And Jamie Foxx said this just recently on the red carpet. He said that if they try to erase our history, guess what? We go and we make some more. We go and we make some more. You try to
exactly.
erase us, we still gonna be here. Black people will always be here because we are the biggest, highest paid contributors to this country. Just like y'all spend money, we spend money. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And now y'all are crying because we're not shopping at your stores. We're not doing these things. We've been doing it since what was it?
Hmm.
The time with the Montgomery bus boycott. Let's say no, we're not gonna
Right.
ride the bus today. We're not gonna do this. So to my people, before I move on to the next topic, which is black women, the women in Conrad's life, um, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right, but it's
Yeah.
important that we learn our history. It's important that we go
Correct.
sit down, take a minute. My mother bought me a book on this black man yesterday that published the first Afro-American newspapers, and I didn't know anything about him.
Mm.
I can't get it. I'm not near the book right now, but I'm gonna have to show it to you tomorrow when I bring Marcus on the show. But she brought me this book. She surprised me. It's called Prayers in a Letter or something. And this black man published the first Afro-American newspaper. See, we had our news outlets. We know what they want to see on
Right.
the news, which is why Joy Reid lost her show. Because what you typically
Right.
see on the 5 or 6 o'clock news does not look like a woman like me or Joy Reid. It's
Exactly.
typically blonde
Right.
hair, blue eyes, or a short buzz cut and blue eyes
Hmm.
and a tie. That's what you would see. You wouldn't see anybody with melanin in their skin. But we had the late great Gwen Ifill, who was speaking truth to power. It was so many. Jane Kennedy, who was another one, but
Right.
she represented sports newscasting. She was a black woman who represented sports newscasting. They don't talk enough about Jane Kennedy. We talk about Jamel Hill, but we don't talk about Jane Kennedy though. I mean, she
Correct.
modeled, she acted, and then she did sports newscasting. So it's important that we go back and research the people who paved the way for the news anchors and the authors of black literature out here. Protect that and preserve it. But we're gonna be all right. They're not gonna erase us.
Yes.
They can't erase us.
Mhm.
Our history is here. It's ingrained in this country. As much as they think that they're doing something right now, let them. Let them.
Correct.
So on to the next one. It is Women's History Month. March is International Women's History Month, and I'm curious to know, Conrad, what are 5 things that
Yes.
make the women in your life so dynamic? Because you talk about your wife in the beginning of our conversation, and your sister is here watching also as well too. So how are important these women to you? What do they mean? How do you cherish them? What are 5 things about them that make
So you
them so dynamic?
so you say 5 women in my
The
life?
women in your life, what are 5 things that make them so unique and dynamic?
Oh man, what are 5 things that make them? Well, 5 things that make them the women in my life. First and foremost, for every last one of them who I hold in high regards, and um, there's some prayerful, very, very prayerful women. They purpose driven. They persevered. They definitely survivors. And comforters. And when I say that, I'm not talking about no man and woman being. I'm talking about comforters uh, of of life,
Come on.
comforters of their spouses and or boyfriends and or girlfriends, their children. Um, man, there's just so much I can say. It's way more than five. They have been the stronghold in my life. They have been the uplifters in my life, the supporters, the true validators in my life. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's so much. You say five, and
Women, we're not a
like they
monolith.
truly
We do
say,
so much. We're multifaceted. We're powerful. We are
man,
resilient. We bounce back, especially Black women. Through everything that we've
yes,
endured, along with our Black men, even goes back, like I said, 400 years. We will still be there by our man's side. That's how
yes,
deep Black women are. We ride till the very end, and then when we say we had
yes,
enough, we get off of that ride. That's how resilient Black
yeah.
women are. So when I say this administration tries to erase everything that they've done, that includes Black women, but we're not going nowhere. So I had to ask, being a
No.
Black woman myself, how important are the women in your life, your wife, your sister, your girl?
Oh man, starting with my mama, my grandmama, my great grandmother, my wife, my daughter. My daughter helped to mold me and shape me and helped me to, even though I was an adult, when when she was created, she still helped me to grow up even further. She helped me to be more, and my sons was that too, but we're talking about women. My daughter helped me to grow up, even though I am an adult man. She helped me grow up even more. She helped me to embrace Black women even more and to appreciate and to protect and provide. And it's like, I mean, that young lady is awesome. She is awesome. Like I said, my wife. I mean, just I call her queen, and it's not to sound politically correct. It's because it's who she is, from her origin, from her creation, from heaven, and to be brought about to this earth, and for God to entrust me to say, look here, I got her for you. I'm gonna entrust her care into you. And if you obey me and be faithful to me, I'm gonna help you within that. But respect her, love her, comfort her, protect her. And I got you. And I said, I got it. I got it. If you entrusted me enough to cover this Black woman, I'm strong enough to handle what you're blessing me with. And man, when I tell you this woman is so strong, a survivor, persevere, and that's with the things she's been through before her and I, and the things she's been through with us being together, and still standing strong and still not letting it beat her down, not turning to substance to deal with the downfalls. To say, you know what? Yeah, I had some tears, but my prayers are stronger than my tears. I don't turn my back on that. I love y'all black women with a passion. Always have, always will.
I'm gonna go back to our mothers. Our mothers, our great grandmothers, you said are prayer warriors. They are. My
Yes.
grandmother is 80 years old, and she is the matriarch of this family. And
Yeah.
she said, okay, now that y'all are grown, you go ahead and you put God first in everything that you do. You ain't too big yet.
Yes.
Don't get such a big head. And this is coming down here in the South where religion and Christianity, growing up in the black church, I mean, feet stomping, growing up in the black church down here for real, in the South, South Carolina. We were brought up on that. But it's
Yes.
important that we cherish these women. We cherish our mothers. We cherish our grandmothers because we talk a
Right.
lot about legacy and the next generation, your daughters. I have a niece as well too. So she's off to college. She has her family as well too, going off of her field.
Right.
But it's important that we cherish these women. We cherish each other's legacy. And in order to what makes a strong black man is a strong black woman because our mothers have raised all of us to be strong. They've all just like me.
Most
Now I'm passing on the
definitely.
torch to you. My brother, because I have four brothers and two sisters. My brother now has a baby. He's on his way to 2 years old. And my mother was just like, oh God, she was happy when she found out the news that his wife was expecting. And I'll never forget it. The first time I held my nephew and just seeing him, he looks just like him. So I said, okay. But my mother's always told us that she said, wait till y'all have y'all's children. And I'm pretty sure you've heard it too, Conrad. A lot of us
Yeah,
have. When
most
parents will
definitely.
tell you, be like, okay, wait till you have yours. Now you'll see what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Now you see why I raised y'all the way that I did. I want y'all to do right by these babies. Don't let me down.
Exactly.
Your legacy is continuing on. So I have a
Right.
nephew, and he's on his way to 2 years old. And again, I am not looking forward to it at all. He's already walking. He already knows sign language. The baby knows how to say "I love you," y'all. Like no
That's
play.
a
He
blessing.
knows how to say "I love you." He knows how to say "I've had enough" or "I've had too much." As far as food, he sat by my
Right.
grandmother and my aunt, and they were just shocked. And then the the teacher at the daycare was just like picking him up, and my brother's wife told her, "You do know he can walk, right? He's out here walking already." My mother just got hospital. He's looking up under the covers and stuff. Like he's just a man of his own. He is two going on 30, I shall say. But are learning. They learn fast, and that's because of our
Yes.
mothers. Our mothers, and one thing I can say about our mothers is black mothers are the nurturers, but they will also burn your bottom if need be.
Oh,
Um,
oh, yes. Yes,
Growing up in the
Lord.
black household, I remember my brother got in trouble at school one day. And I put all my brother's business out here, but this is for y'all to get to know me. Like I said, with my siblings, my brother got in trouble at school. I can't remember for what it was, and we came home one day, and you know, my father was off because my father drove trucks for work or whatever, and he also served in the
Hmm.
Marines. So I remember us coming home one day from school, and so he was talking back to my mom in the car. And she said, what? Because she meant to snatch him and try to grab him. I'm just standing there like a lump on a log. The sibling, you can get that. It took me by surprise. She said, oh, no, I'm not going to chase you. I'm going to wait till your father get home. So,
Uh-oh.
those are the words right there. Those are the death words that you don't want to hear. But that's for any black mother out there.
Right.
Ladies, you know. For my black mothers out here, you know exactly. When they say, I'm going to tell your daddy, those are the words that I dread hearing. And yeah, my daddy was like a drill
Right.
sergeant. He didn't play. So,
Yes.
but that helped molded my brother to the man that he is, and it helped mold me into the woman that you guys see today. So that's why I'm so level-headed and humble. I don't act as if I'm
Right.
above or beyond. And I think I get my nurturing spirit from my mother. And that's for either one of us. Anybody who's raising a family out here or cares for someone or something, you just instantly get that nurturing instinct from my moms. So shout out to the
Correct.
mothers out here.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because my mother is awesome. like you said, and she still don't play to this day. And see, and I'm a PK. I'm a PK. Uh, my mama, a woman of God, saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire burning woman, and she didn't play. And when I say she didn't play, she didn't. You know, we knew, and she was a single mother, but she stood strong, head up high, and made sure all myself and my siblings, we all knew she paid the cost to be the boss up in that household under that roof. Anybody got a problem with it, you can get to the other side of the door. But she did not play. She did not tolerate. We never disrespected my mother. We knew better because we knew we used to feel like mama wasn't rap tight, and we didn't want no, as they say nowadays, we didn't want no smoke. We didn't want no smoke because we know Val was nobody to play with. And to this day, she still nobody. It's still yes ma'am, no ma'am, and yeah. Mm-mm. And but I value her. I appreciate her. I honor her because she helped mold me. She helped make me a person. I won't say, and when I say this, I don't want no one to be offended. I want it to be understood because she'll say the same thing. She never tried because she knows she couldn't to raise us to be men because she wasn't a man. What she helped to do is raise us to be human beings of good character and how a
Put
man and
love on
or
a
woman
woman.
should act and conduct. Yes. And that's what sometimes a lot of people go wrong at and have a misunderstanding. And like I said, my mama tell you, and she never has tried to say, well, yeah, I was mama and daddy. No. She said, I was mama. That's who I am. That's who God made me. But and so my job was to make you good until you became better, productive human beings in society and contributors and not takers and savages of society. And she did an awesome job. But she didn't do it as they say. She didn't do it by sparing the rod either. But it was earned. And I would speak on my brothers and I would tell you. The days of discipline, even when it had to come, as they say, with that strap, you earned it. She didn't just out the blue say, come down with she wasn't abusive. She did what she needed to do to keep from the streets whooping up on you. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Mamas are awesome, and my grandmother was, you know, all of them, all of them. So yeah, I like I said, I love y'all, black women. I appreciate y'all. I value y'all. I honor y'all. I respect y'all, cause y'all the truth. Y'all beyond the truth.
Hmm. And again, shout out to black mothers. We watched black mothers on TV raising black families from What's
Yes,
Happening. The mom on What's Happening, she did the same thing. She said, okay, y'all want to do something, but what she was very clever about it. She was very clever about it. She knew that Dee or Raj would get in trouble. She'd wait for him to get home and then she'd give him that
oh
warning. Okay,
yeah,
let me give you, yeah. The mama on What's Happening didn't play. We all grew up watching that, but that was literally what our mamas would do. They let you know, like, I didn't do this
yes,
to you because I'm abusing you. This is discipline. And that's in the black
you're
household.
right.
I would rather do
Yeah,
this to you than to have the streets do it or you be in a jail cell somewhere. And that's for all of us growing up in the black household. Don't do
exactly.
what I used to do. Be better than me. And that's what our parents
Right,
want for us. So yes.
correct.
Another one is Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris. I would rather have a Rochelle and the mama from What's Happening tell me, steer me in the right direction of my life. My mother was the same way. My mother was the same
Yes.
way. And she's a strong woman. She's a Libra. She's very stubborn.
Hmm.
Libras are very stubborn, but I think I get my feistiness from her, my passion, my fire, and my fight from my mom.
Right.
Because my mom's just the type, she doesn't like anybody to be mistreated at all. She
Hmm.
gonna stand up for you. And that's the same thing for
Right.
me. I don't like to see anybody mistreated either. She said, you like me, you have a very sensitive heart. You care for people. And that's something that I've learned. My mother also can curse like a sailor. I think I get that from her as well too. In the black household, yeah, our mothers, when they let you have it, they would not care, and then they go to
Right.
church and they praise the Lord the next day. So that's how my upbringing was. And if it's not my mom, then it's her sister, my aunt, that would get to us and let us have it as well too. But I'm thankful
Right.
for these women because these women are the vessel that run through me that you guys see today. I wouldn't be the woman I was today if it wasn't for these women and just this overall support of my family backing me. And it's important that we continue to give these women their flowers, their credit, the mothers out here. So shout outs to them. And speaking of credit and flowers, this question is for you, Conrad. Do you have an inner monologue? And if so, is it asking you deep questions or are you narrating your life with your monologue on life?
With my monologue,
Yeah.
it's that's something because I have several of them, and they have a different vibe to them, but I'm connected to all of them. So, are you asking me to deliver
No,
one?
no, this is about your life's monologue, your inner monologue, like your life story, your
Oh, my
poem.
inner
Yeah.
monologue.
Hmm.
Is it no um is it yeah my life's inner monologue is something else.
Mm.
Is is telling a story of me, my journey, my life's inner monologue. I sum it up in one word, one big word. It's my compass. It's my compass of life. My inner monologue is my compass of life, my navigation. Of course, God is number one, but I'm
Come on.
talking about from a natural standpoint. Spiritually, it's God without question. But from a natural standpoint, yeah, my inner monologue is a compass and a navigation system. And boy, has and is and will continue to take me on some journeys that um, I've enjoyed and I'm looking forward to and embrace. Yeah, uh, it's definitely my compass and my navigation system. And it really, yeah, it tells a lot of me.
And I'm so glad that you talked about God because every day when we wake up in the morning, he puts breath into us, and it goes back to that vessel that I was talking about, which is
Oh
God is
yes,
the reason why our eyes open every morning, and I give him thanks every day.
you
I
better
pray
know
before every single
it.
interview. And my mother, she always would give me Bible verses to read, and there's certain ones that I would go and find out on my own. So that's how I stay so centered. So when we talk about that inner
Yes.
monologue, that inner compass, it's like God is telling us, even when we feel guilty, when we've done something wrong, that that guilty conscience, you know how you have the good angel, the angel on your shoulder, and you have the devil on your shoulder. You see it in the shows all the time, the cartoon characters. And that moral compass there, that angel is telling you, like, hey, giving you a wake up call, a 911 call,
Right.
like, hey, think about this before you do it. That inner conscious is
Right.
real. There's an inner conscious and then there's a
Right.
subconscious. Then you have the devil. And for me, sometimes I have to tap into that dose just a little bit. But the
Mm-mm.
reason why I
Mm-mm.
tap into that double is because I like to binge eat. I love ice cream. So sometimes it's just like, okay,
Okay.
on the good side, you got the angel telling you, okay, you're gonna gain. You're gonna gain if you keep on eating. So, and then you have the double saying, oh child, live. Just live a little bit. Just live. So that would be my moral compass, but each and every one of us has one. And it gives us that awakening. Like, okay, what are you doing? And it goes back to what I said in the beginning of this conversation
Right.
with Conrad, which is self-preservation. Are you holding yourself
Yes.
accountable? Self-reflection. All of these things are key to all of us and our lives. But and we've all made decisions in our life that we sometimes later regret. And we go back like,
Almost
damn, like
definitely.
really, did I just do this here and this moment in this present time? So I mean,
Yes.
that inner compass is real, and that's for each and every one of us that are each and every one of you that are watching right now in this conversation. So never lose sight of it. And speaking of losing sight, my next question for you would be losing sight of your personal goals. How do you avoid losing sight of your personal goals and your identity as a black man?
Well, how do I? Well, the way I avoid it, step one is when I told God what I wanted in regards to this journey of entertainment, in regards to acting. He told me, okay, okay. But with that, okay, he also gave me some instructions. He didn't just say, okay, here you go. And I always share this with people that he will bless you, but he will bless you with instructions as well. And sometimes we don't understand that. We just grasp the blessing and keep going. Like, no, there's some things for you. And so with that, he said, okay, no problem. But here's the things that I need for you to do. And that's to be faithful, prayerful, and obedient. You do keep in line with those three things, I got you all the way through. Now he got you regardless, but if you step away from what what his commandments he gave to you, and I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments, I'm talking about his commandments to you directly. He'll still be there, but sometimes things can get a little rough because you strayed away from what he commanded of you. So I don't stray away from those things. And I haven't. And I've been acting now by the blessing of God for 18 years, going on 19. And I have not deviated, nor have I went left when he said right. I say faithful, prayerful, and obedient. I also I have integrity in the projects that I choose. Um, I don't look to be in everything, and as no one should. I make sure I investigate the project that's being offered, or even that I go and audition for. I investigate it as much as possible in the story, and then the character or characters that's available, and see if they in line with my integrity. And I don't compromise my integrity or who I am for no one. And so that's how I stay grounded. That's how I don't lose sight, because I don't lose hold of the command he gave to me. I don't just, I live it, I eat it, I breathe it, I sleep it, I work with it, I walk with it, I talk with it, I crack jokes. I really do. It's me. Like I share with people, I'm always me. The only time I'm not me is when I'm somebody else, is when they paying me to do it. And then as soon as they say cut for my final rap on me, then I'm back to me, which I always have a part of me, even when I'm doing a character. But the only time I'm somebody else is when they paying me to be somebody else, because they're not paying for Conrad. They're paying for Conrad to bring forth the character that they envision. So that's how I stay grounded. I don't lose sight, and I don't lose hope in his command he gave of me when I said this is what I want to do.
Yes. And speaking of hope, what do you believe is the meaning of life? How would you define?
What do I believe? The meaning of life? Huh. Mm, Now that's one right there. Um, I truly believe a good portion of life is what happens to you. A greater portion of life is how you handle and respond to what happens to you or for you as well. Um, just like, there's many of us who, let's say, for an example, or not example, for a reality, come out of what we would call a urban and or ghetto environment. But when we say and we mean it, some of us ghetto don't come from us all the time. Sometimes you have to. It has been some time in life you might have had to let it
Yes.
loose a little bit just so people can understand where you're coming from sometimes. But for the most part, what I mean by that is, yes, I come from this environment, but it still doesn't mean I do not know how to conduct myself in in other situations, other environments. I don't know how to be a chameleon. That I know how to go into this meeting and you're not gonna get it. Hey, what up, though? How everybody? What it do? What everybody? I know how to conduct myself. No, we're not gonna use that terminology of speaking white. No such thing. I can't stand that. It's proper and knowing how to conduct myself and how to handle myself and be me, but be me with respect and with dignity. So to me, life is part of it is what happened to you, but the bigger part is how you respond to it and what do you do in your response. That's what I believe life is. It's what happens to you, but even bigger of how you respond to what happens to you and how you interact in that and how does it benefit you or how do you, grow in those things. Yeah. So I mean that's my insight, my thought about life.
I love what you just said, which is being able to transform into that communion. Like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, and that's human. But we all have that
Yes.
human part of our life. And that brings me
Right.
to the next question that I wanted to ask you. And I know as an actor and as a black man in this business, we've at Black Collective, we've all had to make sacrifices in this business.
Hmm.
But what is one sacrifice that you've had to make in your life where it's just like, okay, a feeling, deja vu, a sense for you? What was that sacrifice?
What was that sacrifice? Um, the sacrifice I've made in this journey. The sacrifice but the one that really stands out to me, it would have to be time away from family. Because although I'm doing what I love, and although they're supportive of what I do and what I love doing, it's still whether it's been local filming or out of state, there's still time away, and it be a small part that has felt like, did I miss something? What did I miss? What went on? I don't know about. And yes, sometimes you could be told and shared with you, but it's still nothing like you being there to 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 get it right then and there for yourself. So for me, that would have to be the biggest sacrifice for me. I don't regret it. Don't want to sound contradictory, but at the same time, yeah, because you do sacrifice a lot of time. So, and whether, like I said, and that's not just because you know go to another state for filming. Even in your own environment, your own backyard, you're away from your household, away from your family, and so that that is For me, time has been a sacrifice. But because I know I'm doing things valuable with the time, things that I know I will be proud of, and things I know that people in my life who care about me and I care about will be proud of, um, is a degree of a blessed sacrifice,
Yes.
if that makes sense to everybody.
How do you find your purpose in life when you don't know what the end game is? Because we always think about the future and what we can go forward to move forward in our lives. And we also talk a lot about legacy here and what we want our impact to be. So for you, how do you find your purpose in life when you don't know what the end game is? Because time is not promised to anybody. We've lost so many people, and I believe that
Hmm.
time is of the essence. One of my favorite singers, Angie Stone, and it was so
Right.
unfortunate that we lost her. And another one is Roy Ayers. Another one of
Oh
my
yeah.
favorites as well, too, Roy Ayers. And it's just like time is of the essence. It's not promised to anybody. They could be here today and gone tomorrow. And it's important that we
Hmm.
think about what do we want the end game to be. So for you, comrade, how do you find your purpose in life when it's times of uncertainty where it's just like we don't know. It could happen any day and we know that.
I'm glad you asked that question. That's great. I find my purpose in life. I'm gonna tell you. Well, once again, it goes back to my career of acting. Well, it's one thing to tell God what I want. It was another thing for Him to say, "Okay, this is commandments I have for you." I never forget my first major stage play when I got the role. I accepted the role, studied for the role. Then it came time for the performance. For the performance, day one. I was standing backstage just before it was time for me to go on, for my character to be presented. And I said my prayer, and God and I have a great relationship, and we talk real. I talk real to him. And I said, "Well, God, I'm getting ready to go out here on this stage. Now I'm gonna open my mouth, but it's gonna be you doing the talking." And I stepped out there on the stage, and it just so happened my first lines were comedic lines. I went out there and I delivered those lines. Now, with all the bright lights on the stage, it's hard to see for anybody who's never been on the stage. Um, and this is whether you're in a play or even musicians. It's a bunch of lights. And those lights, of course, you got all those lights. It's blinding. You can't see. You barely can see right there in the front row. Um, and I delivered those lines. And when I tell you I heard, I felt, I embraced that whole theater from the top because it was packed. I never forget. And people were falling out of their seat, laughing, gut busting. And I said to myself, still delivering my lines, but I said within myself, I said, I got them. I truly know this is my purpose. This may have been what I wanted to do and what I love, but God really showed me. There you go. This is your purpose. Your purpose I have for you is to deliver the message to people, different messages, and you are going to do it through the gift, the talent, the skill of acting. That is your purpose. And I knew it was my purpose because it was the first time in my life of me doing something and sticking to it. Because prior to that, I dealt with what a lot of us dealt with, but when I'm just speak on self, the spirit of procrastination or the spirit of momentary satisfaction. Get started with something. Say, well, yeah, I'm gonna learn to play the piano. Start off first week, okay, you're all excited, play a couple of notes and whatever. Week two, you still got a little more enthusiasm. Week three, I know I'm supposed to go to class tonight. I'll go next week. But with acting, it was the first time in my life that I didn't. I mean, I wanted to, had the feeling because of feeling depressed and down about things that happened within it, but I didn't back away and I stayed with it. And I said, this is my purpose. Thank you, God. Because we all have one. It's just about knowing it, walking and living in it. And I've been walking and living in it. And I didn't know, like you said, the uncertainty. I didn't know I'd be here with you today. I actually, spoke to my wife when you reached out to me to set up the interview, like without downing myself, like, wow, somebody finds me interesting enough. They want to interview me. Person don't even know me. I'm like, but it goes back to what we say in life about you never know who's watching you. Your name, your character will be spoken and presented in rooms that you never walked in. And those rooms will be welcoming before your feet even be positioned to head that direction. And so it's an honor and a privilege. I'm like, thank you, Lord. You don't know how excited I was for this and how I've been sharing with everybody. I mean, and you've seen it, me sharing it. Like, hey, check out the interview. And it doesn't have to be a million people. One person could have logged on and say, hey, let me check out what this brother is saying. So I know this is my purpose. And still, I know what I'm heading towards, but you know, I don't know what the end game is, but I'm here to find out. I'm not going nowhere. He brought me this far. He haven't left me in it. And so I'm not turning away.
Hi, Christina. Shout outs to my brother Sky Valentine. Shout outs to my brother K Tukes. Hi, Sky. I'm just engaged in this conversation here because people need to know this. And like you
Yeah.
said, it doesn't have to be a million people.
Yes.
And I tell people this all the time. I don't go back and I don't pay attention to views. I want to know that my viewers took something away from the conversation that I've had with my guests on
Exactly.
the show, and they have said something that has impacted their lives. If not their lives, it could be someone who they know is going through a similar situation. It's just like, wow,
Correct.
I could put on this interview and watch this, and this speaks to my this speaks to my spirit. It's just like, and I was telling Prince DJ this yesterday. I said I could put on a song, and it's like the artist that wrote the song, that recorded the song, that put out the album, everything that they've encountered in their lives, I've encountered in my life in some sort of way. And this song I
Yeah.
can resonate with because it's personal to me. So I want my
Yes.
interviews to be therapeutic to people. I want people to feel confident. I want people to go feeling sure about themselves. And not just that, but to know that there's people out here, you're not alone when you're dealing with whatever issues that you're dealing with, that there are people out here who have the same exact thing. Everybody has their issues. We're not perfect. And either way, so I want you all to take away from this something that inspires you, that uplifts you, because we right now we just have this dark cloud, like it's just dark cloud hanging over us of despair and hopelessness. And I want you all to know that it gets better. It gets better. You have to stay encouraged. So you have a purpose. That's why I
Yes.
asked Conrad that question. What is the purpose? What is your purpose? When did you find your purpose? Because time is unexpected. It's not promised to anybody.
Yes.
You're here today and you could be gone tomorrow. God could say, okay,
Right.
but you have no control over that because He has the last say so. When He says it's time to come home, it's time to come home. But right now, He says, I've got a
Amen.
purpose and I'm putting that blood through your vessels for you to be an instrument to help people out here in this world. And my mother,
Correct.
me and my mother were sitting down and we were having a conversation, and I told her this. She told me this as well. She said that you have a purpose. Your purpose and your impact
Hmm.
is to use your voice and your outlet to your best ability, because when you talk, when you help people, you heal people. And just through having healing conversations, you can make an impact on somebody's life. So it's important
Yes.
that we continue to find our purpose in life and never forget it. And also think about the future. Also think about when it's
Correct.
time for God to come on, because our spirits will still be here. I believe that. I lost my sister in
Okay.
2018, and I know that she's watching over me. We talk about our guardian angels and how God is
Right.
always making sure that we are divinely protected. And there have been certain
Correct.
things where I've gotten certain offers where it's just like, okay, something ain't right, God. What you trying to tell me? Like,
Right.
is she here right now watching over me? Is she the reason why I've got this blessing? And we sometimes
Right.
feel that because we've lost someone in our lives. And it's like their spirit is still here in some sort of way. And my
Right.
mom will even do a double take, like, ooh, wait a minute. You're not her, but you did something that reminded me of her. And that's
Exactly.
scary. That God will work in mysterious ways through one of us. If we lost a sibling, whomever, He will put that vessel
Right.
through our bodies in some sort of way. And we sometimes have to catch ourselves where it's just like, wait a minute. No, that, that's God trying to tell me something. Because my mother,
Right.
I woke up one night. I woke up one night and I went to go get some water out of the kitchen, get a bottle of water, and she was laying outside the bed. You know how you're supposed to lay at the bed with your feet in the bed and everything. She was laying outside.
Right.
Why are you outside the bed with no covers? And she's like, God is trying to tell me something. God is literally
Hmm.
speaking through my body. He will speak through your body in certain ways. And you will find
Right.
yourself and catch yourself doing things that you have no control over. So the unordinary
Correct.
can happen. Trust. Trust. You just got to believe. He's using you as that vessel. He's using you as that tool.
Yeah.
You have a purpose. My purpose is not just to, of course, come on here looking gorgeous every single day, fashion and all, but I want people to take away from a message. I want people to take away
Right.
and be encouraged in these times because it seems like a dark cloud is over all of us. People losing their jobs. People are thinking, what are we going to do? You know, to make sure that the children are fed, to make sure that my children have a decent education. It's
Right.
everyday people problems. Y'all are not alone, and I want everybody to know that we are in this together. We're going to lean on one another, Black people. We're going to look out for one another. We're going to make sure, because in our community, mental health and not checking on each other, we don't get enough of that. Call your friend. Call your siblings. Call your sisters. Reach out to them because time is not promised by
Correct.
them. Pick up that phone. Talk to that long lost relative. And I'm going to go back to what Conrad said in the beginning before we get to the rap portion of our conversation, which is trace your ancestry. We know other
Man.
people's ancestry, but trace your ancestry. I was watching a
Exactly.
show where they had famous people tracing their ancestry, like this big, thick book, and they're just like, do you know you're connected to this person and this person? We
Oh
gotta do
yeah.
this. We gotta do this,
Oh
Black
yeah.
people.
You talking about the show with Henry Louis Gates.
Yes,
I know exactly what
you
you're
and they
talking about.
trace their
Yes.
ancestry, and it's just like, wait, what? I didn't know I'm related to this person and this person. You never know.
Right.
Trace your ancestry, trace that family tree, trace your roots. Go back to the source. Our ancestors run deep
Correct.
through our veins, y'all. And it's important
Correct.
that we continue to learn that. Because
Right.
I'm gonna keep it a stack all the way, Carl. I put it on Front Street today. I don't even know mines, but I want to do it. And I'm encouraging my people, Black people, I'm encouraging each and every one of you to do it as well too.
Right.
Trace your ancestry, trace those roots, because you never know. You never know. And it's by the grace of God that this person could be still here, still living. And you're just like, wow.
Right.
I want to know more about my great grandmother. I want to know more about my great aunt. I want to learn more about my grandfather. You can learn all of that
Right.
through that family member right there, and they'll tell you, and they'll show you pictures and things and walk you through. Well, you related to this person, and my father has done it with me. Like I said, I have relatives in New York, cousins there, and he's just like, well, you know that this person is this person, and this person is this person to you and your cousin. So yeah, it's important that we do that. Trace that ancestry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fashion dolls. Before we wrap, because we're now in the wrap period. All right, what is next in the chapter for you in your life and in your journey? Because I know each and every day, each and every one of us, we are always looking to write something in our chapters. Just like, no, no, we are the editors, we are the writers, we are the publishers of our life story. So, what is next in your chapter for you?
Um, well, I'm blessed. I'll be leaving here next month. Going to do a film project that'll be filming in two locations, and uh, God bless. I'm being flown out. Like I said, I live in Detroit, but I'm being flown out
Yes.
to two other states. They're filming in two different locations. Go do this film. Um, it'll be my first lead, and I'm blessed. I'm gonna be in this project with some people. Some people are familiar with, some you're not. Um, but the production company, they reached out to me and said they really appreciate and like the work I've done thus far and the presence I bring. So I said, Lord, I thank you. Also, like I said, I'm writing. I'm finishing up a script, but it's not doing any other thing. Like I said, this was a script that was done and being done based off of research. Um, that's my next journey in life. Is I'm not just about being in front of the camera. Even when I'm on sets, when a lot of people go on breaks, I'm around the cameraman, the lighting guy, the director, and and I don't be in the way, but I ask questions. I'm learning about, you know, uh, the environment of the set. Even though I know from the acting standpoint, I'm learning from the director. Why'd you choose to shoot from that angle? Why'd you only going from that corner? Learning those things because one, I like learning different things, and two, I never believe you should lock yourself into being one dimensional.
Yeah.
I've always shared that with my kids that even when you coming up, like, okay, you can be a basketball player, that's beautiful, football player, that's beautiful, and be on point with it, but never close your mind into with it only being that because sometimes unfortunate things happen. You can be that basketball player in high school, even make it to college, and unfortunately have an injury where it keeps you from playing that sport or even get to the professional level. What is your next move? What is your next step? What is your next journey? Or you may not suffer an injury, but you might not make it on that professional level. But that don't mean you have to get out of that environment. But it may be you wasn't meant to be the athlete. You was meant to be the physical therapist to those athletes. And far as the monetary standpoint, now you're making more money than them because the money they making, they got to spend it with you because you got to help keep them together so they can continue to play. So don't just be one dimensional. But so for me, that's me. I'm not one dimensional. I learn a lot when I'm on sets. I don't just sit around listening to fellow actors. I ask questions without being intrusive or in the way. I ask questions. And most sets I've been on, they have a they being the director, the cameraman, the lighting guy, the catering service, they have been okay with answering and being and teaching. So that's my next steps. Is finish up this script, get that together, and not just writing the script. There's a lot that goes into that. A lot of people need to know that, is because there's so many people talking about they got a script, and then they talking about they're looking for actors, but they haven't secured a location, they haven't secured funding, and none of that to not just pay for location, but pay for the actors and all that. But they ready to do this. No, you have to get things in order, as they say, get your ducks in a row. And if you're not, and you're not at that point, then if it's meant to be, it will be. Take your time, do the homework, do the research. So yeah, that was my next steps is continuing learning in this film, not just in this film industry, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And with my acting classes, I'm doing more acting classes, doing more voiceover classes, and continue to help others who have come behind me, who are coming behind me, help being encouraging to them. And this, that, look here, you're gonna have some days, ups and downs, good and bad. But for me, um, that's my purpose. That's my continued journey. That's my it's keep learning, and particularly then you're gonna hear executive producer Conrad Johnston, director, associate producer. So that's where I'm at.
And that was going to be the last before we wrap. What are some gems that you would give to the next generation coming after you? And what advice would you give
Um,
to people just on maintaining their purpose in life?
Number one, if this is for you, because it's not for everybody, and that's what we need to understand as people. If you believe in God or whatever your 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 path is, and I don't want to say religious. It's not. It has nothing to do with religion. Whatever your connection is for you, your, as they say, higher power. Um, but for me, I'm gonna speak for me, from my standpoint. Put God as your top, your bottom, your left, your right, your center, your all the way around. Not just the center, all the way around. The main focus and your decision making. Um, when it comes to acting, first thing I would suggest and recommend, take acting classes from accredited, genuine acting instructors. I mean, people who have degrees in this, who have actually went to school, not just somebody say they're an acting coach. And then and be purposeful about what you're doing. As I said earlier on, be selective of the projects that you choose. Remember, quality, not quantity. Because if you got 10 films, but 5 of them put together can't even make one good film, then I don't know what to tell you. Um, and like I said, always just keep faith and obedience, and always be willing to learn, willing to grow, and understand that if you get to a point where you feel like I got it, then it's time for you to back away. Because you should always want to be a student. You should always be eager to be a student and learn. Um, and like I said, I gotta keep saying, because it's real. I know that it's real. I've seen it real. Whatever questions you have, I promise you, he has the answer for you. He has the answer. I promise you that. I was even told a story about that. Um, I just shared just briefly, about a young lady, I'm sorry, who went to college, and her dad talked to her before she was leaving to go off to college, and he told her, I want you to go ahead and make sure you find your goal and your purpose and do what you need to do. And here, take this with you. Here's this Bible. And remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter what happens, whatever questions you have, every answer you need is right here. She's like, okay, so she goes off and she's living her life. She's doing classes, and she gets involved in different activities and things of that nature. She called home. She talked to her mom. She talked to her dad. Hey, daddy, how you doing? I'm fine, whatever. How are you? She said, I'm good, Dad, whatever. He's like, you been reading your Bible? Well, I haven't got around to it yet, Daddy, but I will. Okay, they hang up. She went through some things while she was gone. Her money got tight. She went from being able to eat certain things to just only strictly eating noodles and things of that nature, and just had a few little tough times, but she wouldn't say nothing. So she came home for the holiday one time, Saw daddy. Hey, daddy, how you doing? Fine, baby girl. Come here. Let me talk to you. She said, oh, daddy, I will talk to you later on, but I'm about to go meet my friends. And then as I meet my friends, I meet up with. He said, I just want to talk to you for a minute. She said, Dad, I really got to get ready. He said, it won't take but a minute. She said, okay, Dad, here I come. He said, bring that Bible with you. She said, okay. So she come in the room with the Bible. Daddy said, how everything been? She's like, well, it's been so. He's like, you been reading your Bible? Well, I was gonna get to it, but Dad, I with my classes and I got me a job and then I was pledging and this, that, and he's like, oh, okay. Well, how everything else been? So she finally decided to tell me, well, it kind of got tough. My money got low and everything. And so I kind of just been eating this. And then a few days I didn't eat. He's like, well, did you take time to read your Bible? She's like, I was going to, but he said, well, can we read just one passage right now? She said, Dad, I really got to go. He said, okay, we just want to read one verse. She said, okay, Dad, read one verse. She opened up the Bible. There was $1,000 right there. He took it. He said, what did I tell you before you left here? She said, whatever I had a problem, all the answers I was looking for was right here.
See? But God.
And it was right at the front of the Bible. She didn't even have to go into it. Soon as she opened it up, it was right there. So she did all that time, dealt with those situations, dealt with that financial situation, not knowing she had that with her the whole time.
It's right in that.
So I say, and I stick to it, and I believe in it, that God has your answers. My mama always said, if you want to know if God got a sense of humor, tell him what your plans is. Tell him you don't need him. Tell him you got it. And listen to him laugh.
And he knows it all. He knows it all. He will those senses that he's instilled into
Mm-hmm.
each and every one of us. He knows it all. And today's final
Yes.
thought, fashion laws, which ties into what Conrad just said about those answers. Never confuse a single defeat with a final defeat. And that is about
Hmm.
fear. That comes from F. Scott
Yes.
Fitzgerald. And I want you all to remember that.
Yes.
Those answers that we're looking for is in that Bible. Turn to a certain verse.
Yes.
Mine is Philippians 4:16. I believe in all Christ Jesus, things who strengthens me. That is, that is my strength right there. That's what keeps me
Yes.
going each and every day. Each and every day, my mom gives me a verse, and I highlight certain verses and
Right.
passages to read.
Right.
And I also do affirmations along
Mm-hmm.
with that as well too. And that's how I stay so centered and I come on refreshed. Even though I get stressed out, angry about what's going on in the world, my mom said, turn to him. He's got all the answers. We've been through the
Right.
worst. Whenever you've been through the worst, he has the answers and he'll fight your battles. You got your armor on because the prayer that I said is the prayer for our spiritual warriors who put on their armor, who are shielded and protected by God. So when you are divinely
Right.
shielded and protected by God, you have nothing to worry about. And we all are uniquely in our own way. And I want you all to remember that. So those answers are there. So here we are. And Conrad, I had such a great time chatting with you. This was an
Yes.
amazing conversation. And I would love to bring you back on again in the fall. So I'm going to shoot you those dates, but let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out. And I hope you all took something away from this conversation because I know everybody's messaging me and DMing me like, what's the answers? What do we do now? How do we go forward? God is the answer
Right.
to go for it. And I'm going to give you another quote from one of my favorite singers and fashionistas. It's Rihanna. Rihanna has a quote that goes like this. She says, do not focus on the chaos, but focus on getting towards that finish line. And you know who can never get us across that finish line?
Nobody but God.
All the time. So
All the time.
trust, never give up hope. We gonna get through this. You're gonna be okay. Your family's gonna be okay. Everybody's gonna be all right. Again, just keep checking on each other and love on each other. Love on the women in your life as well too. And that's the final thing I wanted to say before we close. And Conrad, let everyone
Yeah.
know where they can follow you and check you out.
Okay. Well, like I said, you can find me on many of the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, just my name, Conrad Johnston, X, TikTok. You can find me on Tubi. You can find me on Amazon Prime. You can find me on Google. type in Conrad Johnston, and I promise you will see me, Conrad Johnston actor. You can see my filmography, projects I've done, projects that are on the way, and yeah, you can drop me a line on, like I said, Facebook, Instagram, DM me. Just reach out. I'm always available for bookings. Um, like I said, if the project, if it aligns with my who I am as a person and my integrity, then we can talk and discuss about it and everything. I'm always open. I'm never closed minded nor disrespectful. So yeah, those are the different platforms you can find me. Like I said, reach out. I'm here. Um, and I appreciate everybody who took the time out to check out this interview. I pray that you all receive something valuable and to yourselves, or that you can share with someone else. And I look forward to speaking to everyone again. And once again, everyone have a blessed evening. I appreciate it. Uh, Stevie, I appreciate this. I enjoyed it. I look forward to doing this again. And you continue to remain vigilant and persevere, and the blessings going to continue to flow. I truly appreciate it.
You are so welcome, and I will definitely bring you back on the show. You're real, and people need that. Sometimes we surround ourselves with the people that tell us things we don't want to hear, but we need to hear. Keep doing that,
Need to
Conrad.
hear.
Keep
Thank
keep
you.
being real. We need that, especially in these times. We need it. And I
Yes.
want you all to know that. You're going to have people in your life that are going to be there. And they'll get on your nerves. They'll tell you the things just like, "Oh, I'm not trying to hear that." But you need to hear these things because these people have been there. They've experienced this.
Yes.
So I want you all to remember that. Fashion dolls. We're going to be okay. We've been through the worst case scenario. We're going to be all right. Don't y'all worry.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Joining me tomorrow, Fashion Dolls Friday, we have Marcus Middleton. And this interview, this conversation, watch it from beginning to end so that you can catch everything. Because this brother here was spitting some gems. Check from the
Thank you.
beginning to end. We touched on a number of things from Black history to everything, and it will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. This makes interview 767. So we are on the road to 800. Thank you all so much for your love and support, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 4. Take care, everyone.
All right. Thank you.